Alright YouTube, so today I kind of wanted to just discuss the demo footage that leaked yesterday. We kind of gave our thoughts briefly on it yesterday, but more so the point of that video was to just let you know that that footage was out there so you could track it down and watch it yourself. In case you did miss it, what happened is the entire floor demo footage leaked, about 16 minutes of gameplay. The floor demo is different from the press demo. The behind closed doors press demo is the entire bombing mission from Cloud hopping off the train, going all the way through the first Mach reactor, and then fighting the Scorpion Sentinel, which is what it's called now, the Scorpion boss fight. The floor demo that's open to the public at these gaming events is just briefly before the Scorpion boss fight. You go down some ladders, fight a handful of enemies, and then you're doing the boss fight. That's pretty much it. As for my personal thoughts on it, I think it looked great. The gameplay looks fantastic, seeing Cloud like kind of move around from enemy to enemy, jumping up in the air, spin around, swinging his sword. I didn't see any stuttering, any frame rate issues. Now, they're playing on PS4 Pros, and I'm sure like the demo itself is super polished for people to play it, but so far, the game looks great. The game transitions from cutscene to gameplay directly, similar to Red Dead Redemption 2, which is something we've known about for a while now, but it's nice to actually get to see it in this gameplay. Something else I took note of was the sheer size of the Mach reactor. The verticality is pretty insane. In the original game, from the outside, you can tell that the Mach reactor is a massive building, but once you get inside, it's just a couple of screens, and you're blowing up the Mach reactor fighting the Red Scorpion. Like, it doesn't really feel like that big of a location in the original game, but with the remake so far, just by watching the gameplay, you get that sense that it's a massive industrial location that is sucking the planet dry. Something else I took note of was destructible environments. We heard about this a couple of years ago from Tetsuya Nomura himself, but you actually get to see it in the gameplay. There's a scene where Cloud's fighting those kind of like robot parrot-looking things, and there's some boxes on the ground behind them that are getting destroyed as Cloud's swinging his sword, and that's just kind of cool. It seems like Cloud maybe got something out of those boxes. There's like a light orb or something on the ground. Could have been a drop from an enemy, but it seemed like he got something out of those. You also have the dialogue back and forth between the characters when they're just running around the environment that I found interesting. We've already seen Cloud and Barrett kind of banter back and forth during the boss fight, but they actually address things that are around the world as you're walking around, because Barrett throws out a line about, what do you think would happen if we fell down to the Mach reactor? Would we sink down to the bottom, to the middle of the planet? Which I thought was kind of cool. That could just be a story piece of dialogue, but I think it kind of hints at the characters kind of saying things based around where you're at, like what's around you as you're walking around. So maybe the game won't just be like complete silence. Maybe if you're walking down the streets of Midgard, the characters will be talking about things that are around you. Now, my thoughts about the gameplay aside, some things I actually took note of were we actually got to see 3 abilities from Cloud and Barrett each, and we've seen some of these abilities used before in the gameplay, but I don't know if we actually had actual descriptions of these abilities, but we actually get that with this. So for starters, Barrett has 3 abilities: Still Skin, Focus Shot, and Bullet Barrage. We did not get a description of Bullet Barrage because the guy playing the game never actually hovers over it or uses it, so we don't know exactly what that does. But Still Skin says, temporarily reduces damage taken and how easily you are interrupted. Focus Shot says, unleash an energy attack that staggers enemies much faster, uses all ATB charges. Cloud also has 3 abilities that are Braver, Focus Thrust, and Triple Rush. We've actually had people talk about these before, but again, these are the in-game descriptions, so we know exactly what they do. First up, Braver says, jump into the air and strike your foe with a powerful attack. Focus Thrust, unleash a series of piercing strikes that stagger enemies much faster. Triple Rush, spin with your sword in a circular arc, hitting 3 times. Hitting multiple foes increases efficiency. I think the last word is efficiency. For whatever reason, it was kind of hard to read. So I thought that was kind of cool, because we have people describe like all 3 of Cloud's abilities before, but it's nice to get the in-game description. I don't think I've seen anybody at all talk about like Barrett's abilities, so it's kind of nice to get those as well. Both of them also had a handful of magic, which obviously we don't need to describe what these do, but Barrett had Thunder, Cure, and Blizzard, and Cloud had Fire, Cure, and Blizzard. Kind of odd that they gave Barrett the Thunder magic while Cloud is the one who starts with that in the original game. I don't know why they did that. Now when it comes to the full game, I doubt you're going to start with all this magic, and I'd be surprised if we started with all these abilities. I feel like you have to earn these abilities or unlock them with weapons or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but if we start the game with all those abilities, that'd be kind of crazy. And the last thing I took note of from this demo is there's a window that popped up describing limit breaks, and it mentioned that limit breaks do not actually cost ATB, which I don't know if I've talked about that before. I've done a lot of videos for FF7 Remake, but it's nice to know that because everything else does. Like any kind of abilities, any kind of magic, using up an item, that all costs an ATB gauge, but limit breaks do not. As for discussing the leak itself, obviously as a fan, as somebody who's excited for this game, I enjoyed it, right? Getting 16 minutes of unedited gameplay, just straight gameplay from the beginning of the demo to the end. That's awesome, right? But it is kind of a negative because this happening, who knows how Square Enix is going to react, man. There might be less of these in the future, right? Like, when the next game comes out, the Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, Part 2, there might not be a floor demo anymore at any gaming events because of stuff like this. Square Enix themselves have not publicly released any of the gameplay from these demos, right? We haven't seen what the demos are like. You have to go to the E3 or these gaming events to play it yourself to experience it, because they haven't shown it to us specifically, probably for a reason, more than likely because they're going to release the full bombing mission demo at some point. So having the entire floor demo leak online for everybody to watch, like who knows what kind of impact that's going to have on the future when it comes to FF7 Remake games or demos or show-ins or whatever. Like who knows what kind of impact that's going to have. That's really my only negative from this, because obviously everything else about this is a positive. Getting to see this unedited gameplay is just awesome. And it's kind of Square Enix's fault anyway. I don't think this was done with malicious intent. I think they're kind of stupid, because I don't know why they recorded the screen, because obviously they shouldn't have done that. Like, they should know that you're not allowed to do that. But this was bound to happen at some point in time, because we don't have a whole lot for the game. We got a lot during like the E3 week state of play trailer. E3, we got like a 20-30 minute like press conference for FF7 Remake. So we got a lot during E3 week, but we've had years and years of silence. So it's kind of nice to get something like this, even if it might have lasting negative impacts. But anyways, my dudes, that's pretty much the video. Just want to give my thoughts on the demo itself, what I thought of it, and point out some stuff that maybe some people might have missed. If you didn't get to watch yesterday's video, I'll have it linked in the description below so you can go check it out, and it'll link you to somewhere where you can watch the 60-minute gameplay if you have not watched it yet. But if you haven't watched the full 16-minute demo, what are your thoughts on it? Leave that in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and want to stay up to date with more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter at TheDashingDavid. And my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while. Quit acting like a baby, or at least less like a child. Give me serenity, or at least just peace of mind. Give me closure, or at least a phone.